All right, guys, welcome back to the Real South Africa. We have the brother from Webnation. He interviews a lot of African Americans that goes to Ghana. So he gives a great contrast on what we're seeing here in South Africa and Ghana. So check it out. Amazing video.
You ready? All right. All right, guys. This is Mark Blanton with the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. And of course, y'all see that I'm not sitting here by myself. I'm sitting here with this famous individual to my left, to your right. I'm going to let him introduce himself because I'm sure he's going to give an amazing introduction. Tell me who you are.
All right. Hey, guys. My name is Hayford. You can call me Captain Hayford, CEO and founder of Webnation Africa, also Webnation Properties Limited, influencer first. The list goes on. And I'm here in Cape Town. Actually, no, Johannesburg.
That's right.
I'm here in South Africa for 21 days. I'm spending 8 days down here in Johannesburg. And I was privileged to have him on camera. We did a whole conversation. Great episodes. You guys should go check it out. Yeah, I'm here. Thank you for having me.
No problem. No, I'm glad you came down. I was like, who's this trying to find me down here in Cape Town?
Everybody kept talking about you, right? And I sent a couple of emails. I'm sure it's somewhere in the draft or in the spam box or whatever. And I was not reaching you. So I reached out to the network that I had. 20. She's like, you should definitely, go talk to, the real South African. I had another person also recommend you. So I'm like, yeah, it's destined for us to meet and have a great conversation. We did. It's a long one though, but we did, and I loved it. It's a great episode. I can't wait for people to watch it. And 7 years on the continent and managing a thriving business, right, is very unique, and you've done that. And from my POV, you guys are growing, and over the years, I think there's a lot more to learn from people like you.
So now, you did say that people, because obviously we're here, we just talk to our South African friends and people that come from time to time, and they tell us that we're doing okay out there. So what's the bad news on the Real South Africa? Talk to me. What they saying?
I don't think I have any. So I travel a lot, right? And the goal is to find great personalities to interview. And so I went to Gambia, for example, and I'm like, anybody who's African American, come, I want to interview you. But I realized that you speak to these folk that, why don't you recommend me to that? And it's like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, but you guys are from the same country. But I realized that there's beef, right? But I don't get hold of it until I leave the country, premiere the episode. Then I get to find out what happened, right? That person was not talking to that person. But I don't focus on, and usually when I interview them and they say something negative about someone I don't know, that I have facts about, I cut it out, I don't publish it. And I've not heard anything negative about you, which is a good thing.
Okay.
I don't know how you do it, that, but it's quite unique. Not to get anybody to talk negative about you. Sometimes I appreciate when people are saying negative things about me because it's constructive sometimes. So you can actually check yourself. Is it true? Is it not true? And then you gauge yourself and then correct yourself and keep it moving. I don't know how you do it. So I think kudos to you guys on keeping
we try
the slate clean with no negativity.
Okay, thank you. I'm more concerned with our tourism, getting people down here, making sure they have an amazing experience, exposing them to Africa, and everything else. I've been in a lot of situations in my time. I've been in combat zones as a soldier and everything else between. So it's kind of hard to rattle me at this point and whatnot. And I can easily stay focused. But everybody, y'all notice that he has an accent. You're from Ghana.
Yeah. Do you know how that happened?
What happened? How you came from Ghana?
No, the accent.
What?
I end up befriending a lot of foreigners. So this is the international accent, guys.
Okay.
And so when I was around, I think 14, 15, 16, I traveled to India. That's where I did my bachelor's. I spent about 4 years there. Lived in Dubai for some few months. Relocated to China. So anytime, all this country, I'm just with foreigners a lot.
Yeah.
Americans, Canadians. So I don't even realize that I'm speaking like how I'm speaking.
Yeah.
Until someone like, aren't you from Ghana? You're supposed to be speaking like the African.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I become self-conscious. I'm like, you know what? Yeah. But then is it code shift when I go back home?
Yeah.
I spend time with my family and I keep hearing the accent. It's just
Yeah.
all this goes away and then
Over
I
there,
start
code
speaking
switching.
like, yeah. Mhm.
Cool. Now you say that you talk to a lot of Americans that come
Ghana
to Ghana
or Africa in general.
yeah. So like, what is overall like? What is their story? What are you hearing?
Hmm. So, okay, I want to understand the question.
Okay.
What are you looking for? Is that what you're
Kind of like they're there. I'm sure people there just to visit. Some people are looking that live there now, and then there's people who are looking to live there, and then just people just like I just came because my friend came.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, like what is their vibe? I mean, what is the vibe you're getting from these people coming from America to Ghana? Because I'm not there. I don't know.
Well, I'll put it this way. I've met so many different people. I've interviewed over 300 African Americans, both on camera and behind the scenes. And Ghana is very famous, right? Internationally, and it has a very great name, PR wise. Also, our history, Kwame Nkrumah, independence and whatnot, Black, liberty, freedom. So a lot of African Americans who lived in America, and, so to speak, had a bad relationship with, racial injustice and whatnot, being treated differently, racism and whatnot, seem to be drawn to Ghana a lot more. So I've met so many African Americans who relocated just because they want that freedom. They want to see more Black people than other ethnicities. They feel like they would have more, they would be respected for who they are, not because of their skin color. Americans relocating. And not only that, freedom, and also regulations, in America or in South Africa here, it's a built structure system, so to speak. Some people don't like that. They want the freedom to, do whatever.
Yeah, dudes do, they can twerk it up anytime they want to.
Speaking about that, some African American women prefer Ghana because of the men.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
Okay, right. You tell it like it is.
He said it. I didn't say it.
Yeah.
That they are, they prefer dating Ghanaian men. When it comes to the African, men skill, Ghana's all the way top.
Okay.
And so a lot of
you saying that as a Ghanaian man?
I have to be biased, guys.
I'm just wondering.
I'm just saying. The woman will tell you.
Yeah. But you are second. You're like,
yeah. I second it.
Okay.
And
fair
so
enough.
They relocate. I've met people who relocated women to Ghana because of a man.
Yeah.
We've had several situations like that. Yeah, some of them got their heart broken and whatnot. But it drawn them. The Ghanaian men drawn most women. I'll get butchered for this, but that's the thing out there. And Ghana is just a beautiful place. Spiritually, it feels different. I was telling you behind camera earlier on that South Africa is beautiful. Don't get me wrong, infrastructure wise, but the spirit, that thing, it's not there for me. I respect how beautiful it is, but it's not Ghana. Yeah, and I think most people.
I hope every nation has its own thing.
Unique,
and I hope that to be the case. Yeah. And people that live there, they know what it is. They know where to find it. And of course, there are tourists and visitors who are looking for that peace. Like here in South Africa, most people think that only if you come into South Africa, you only supposed to be in Soweto. And obviously that's not true.
No.
But Soweto has an amazing vibe. And then of course, if you go to Eastern Cape, then they're like, oh, you need to go here. If you go to KZN, then you must go to Mlazi, whatever. So my point is that I'm glad that those places do exist, because Americans, from what I see, they want that. They want to find that place that you guys go to, that you guys can just let your hair down and just say, you know what, hey, we chilling. I remember 100 years ago, I went to Rome, and we did all the.
How old are you?
it was a long time ago. It was 2010, no, 2008, maybe 2007. And I went to Rome, and Rome is nice, mostly Italians. And then it was me and his other brother. We was working, and he said, and then we asked, well, where are black people? Like they got to be somewhere. And then somebody kind of like psst, psst, jump in a taxi and go outside of town, and you would see these tents, and you would see like some some fire and whatnot. And so we went, and that's where all the black people were. They was out there, cooking meat like we do. They had their music playing, DJ, and under the tents they were dancing. And I'm sitting here like, wow, we way over here in Rome, and look at these black people. This is what we do. We do it everywhere. They do it. They definitely do it in South Africa. I'm sure in Ghana they like to party a little bit. I would assume.
Yeah, our nightlife is way better than South Africa, guys.
Yeah. So y'all need to come to South Africa then.
I mean, you need to come to South Africa, experience it, then come to Ghana. Then you be like, you know what? I get it.
Yeah. So
it's up for debate, by the way.
Yeah, we're going to keep debating this thing. But worst case scenario, I know a lot of our people that are in the States, and like I said, you ran across a lot of them. They do need to come to Africa. I mean, would you just agree, regardless of where they go?
I'm just telling you that even real estate here in South Africa is so affordable. A condo, I don't know how much, but a condo in New York would cost you probably what, 300, 400K?
Yeah, easy, yeah.
Right? And that's a condo. That's a one bedroom. Guys, come on.
Yeah.
With that amount, what you can get here in South Africa that I've seen so far, not to even talk about Ghana. Ghana, for me, look, young African guy like myself, build my media platform. Now I'm going to real estate and now starting my own real estate business where I'm building houses for people. The barrier of entry is very low. Right, so the little amount of money that I have can go way further. Right, give me more opportunity to explore. Other endeavors. I don't think I would be able to do the same. Living in America. Well, speaking about racial injustice, I'm sure there's red tapes everywhere that would prevent me. But I think in Africa, it's just open. It's allowed more people. If you have the right attitude, the right mindset, not feel like you're better than anybody, right, and you respect the locals. So many doors open out to you, and you can.
What was that part about respecting the locals? I like that part.
Yeah. So there's this story, right? Most Ghanaians, the wealthy ones, it's hard to see the wealthy Ghanaian, right? And so you see them wearing whatever, there's something called chalawete, which is slippers, right? So you see wealthy folks in those kind of outfit. And if you're coming from the West, right, the binoculars or the vision, how you're looking at wealthy folks is, nice suit and tie. And if you don't see that, you think, oh, this person is not wealthy. So you end up disrespecting the person or treating them as if they don't matter. Right? And most of the cases, these folks that you treat like that are the landowners, they're the landlords.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman in Ghana, African American, Marvin, and then he started his own real estate, selling houses and whatnot. But the person who he came in contact with is just an old guy before he got the land, right? Yeah. Just an old guy that he met, very dirty. I mean, I saw this guy myself. The same shirt every day, right? But this guy had an island. He had an island. Think about it.
Yeah.
He had an island. His family has been farming on the island for years, right? And Marvin coming into the picture, he's smart with what he does as an African American. He sees opportunity. He's seen the infrastructure being developed in the West, right? He want to bring that here. Yeah. This is a local who has. I'm saying this to say, if you don't know who is who, just take your time, respect the locals, and speak to them.
Yep.
Right, because you realize they hold the keys to your prayers or what you've been looking for.
Yeah.
This man, gave him access and introduced him to the right people. And today he has his own estate he's building, almost complete. So these are the things that I think most African Americans or foreigners in general should consider. Be very come down from your high horse. And
did you say that? Because that's so true.
No,
it's true.
I've experienced that.
I've experienced it. Even here, I will say, and maybe you will agree or disagree, but if you come into a country, let's say, I don't know, maybe you could tell me about Ghana. People come to Ghana and then they want to get with like other Americans who came a few months prior.
Meet and greet. Sorry.
Yeah, and they came there a few months prior. But the people they really need to meet are the locals.
Yeah.
Like all the time.
Yeah. It's so true, though.
But those that don't go meet the locals, they usually don't have, I mean, they usually have a good hard time.
Yeah, from my experience, some African Americans come and they they have their own community association, African Americans Association, which is rightfully so. But then that's all they have. That's the network that they have, right? They don't really tap into the local like that, right? So, and one thing, everybody is here to hustle from America, right?
What was that?
Everybody is here to hustle. And so when we speak about opening doors, when you even need help, it's not really going to come from the African Americans who have relocated and trying to find their way. It will not come from them. And so most of the time they will be in that situation who they need help, nobody helps them, and they go back to the state. But those who came here and merged themselves in the local community, find their tribe, their local family, get adopted into the family. You have a backbone, you have a strong bone, right? Where they can easily host you. You know, worst case scenario, okay, my Airbnb is this, I can't pay anymore, I want someone to stay. A family in Ghana or Africa would host you just because of that connection you have with them.
Exactly.
That's more valuable. Building relationship like that is more valuable than walking into every community saying that you want to help people. You came here to build. I don't know how much money you came with. But I was telling you, in East Legon, that I live in East Legon Hills, and my neighbors are worth $200 million. Right. So you come in an area like that, you stay in an Airbnb, and you're talking about helping people. I'm not sure what they mean by that, but I'm like, just what I'm saying. Like, understand that the land that you're living on is owned by the natives, right? The natives have more wealth and value to give to you than vice versa.
Exactly.
It's sad. It's a hard truth, but the earlier you accept that, the better for you.
It's funny you say that because that's how people always wonder, well, how y'all do it? Because when we most of our friends before we moved here were South Africans. They were locals. And anytime we needed something, we could just let them know, and they'd be like, okay, let me organize that. Let me assist. Let me make this happen for you. Before we even got off the plane.
That's good.
And that's how it should be. But currently, there's, this big movement to Africa. I don't know why. But it's a thing. Let's say it's a thing. And people just want to come here and connect with other Americans. And we tell them, because they're like, well, is there a community like where all the Americans are? And I'm like, no. I said, everybody realizes that if they come and connect with South Africans, they might not be in Joburg. They might come to Joburg. They might end up moving to Peter Marisburg. They might end up moving to East London or Polokwane, all these different cities.
I don't know why most Americans do that. I lived in China, right? And I didn't go looking for Ghanaian community. Like, I don't know. I started speaking Mandarin and I find Chinese friends. And do you know the advantage? I don't remember paying for my own dinner. Yeah. The Chinese are so nice, some of them, by the way. They're like, oh, yeah, I want to take you out to eat. And they kept paying, like, taking care of me. I would pay and they would tell me they would give me my money back. I'm like, oh, wow. And I would never have experienced that if I kept myself in that small community. I went out there, ventured out, made Chinese friends, local friends. I got to meet great people that way. And I don't know why most Americans come here, they want to, they want to associate with their own self. I get it. Right. But then on top of that,
add to. So speaking of China, so I'm just tell you, I mean, you might already know from the American standpoint, being an American for a long time, since 1969, China was we view China as like a bad thing. They're the villain in all the stories,
right?
And we feel this way. But there are Americans that are like, oh, but the Chinese, whatever they're doing is bad. But they have their nice iPhones, they have all the Chinese gear in their house and the whole nine, trying to shop on Shein and Temu and whatever else is out there. But they're still the bad guys. From an African perspective, because I know how these South Africans feel about Chinese. How do you feel about the Chinese and what they're doing?
For me, I've lived in China.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not necessarily under the spell of the Western machines, propaganda machines. I'm not under that spell because I've lived in China.
Yeah.
And I know the truth. The truth is they are very smart people. Business-wise, they are really smart. Don't get me wrong. Even in Ghana, as a businessman to businessman, if I get opportunity to make more money out of a deal than you will, I will take it. This is how they are. They are just business savvy, and any business they go into, they want to make more money than you could, or to take advantage, right? If you let them, and that's how they are. But their work ethic is something that I respect. Work ethic. I've not seen anything like it. I'm not sure you've not been in Ghana, but Ghana, if you tell someone, okay, we have a meeting at 3, the person will wake up at 3 and start showering. Right? And
Welcome to South Africa.
I mean, it's Africa in general, but 15 in China ahead of time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so this is how they are moving, and that is what is helping them build this infrastructure and become who they are now. From my POV, China has better infrastructure and is well developed than America has.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the railway system, right? You can put a coin in the bullet train like that, and it will not move an inch.
Yeah.
And it's going 400 kilometers per hour. This is the infrastructure, right, that I saw and experienced.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what Americans are saying.
We don't have a bullet train.
Right.
Let's just say that.
So that even explains it all. So one thing is, they are smart, and for one thing they didn't do, what they did that I don't think is cool is ripping off some brands that, initially they gave them contract to produce their products for them, and now they've taken the copyright and mass producing it for cheap and whatnot. That is, infringement on copyright, intellectual property. That I don't think is cool. But as a people, they are smart, hardworking. They see opportunity way before everybody else sees it.
Yeah.
Now, let me give you a scenario. In Ghana, in my own country, we have other foreigners coming in there. Let's use an African American, for example. And a debate that I did on Webnation Africa, you guys should go check it out, about why other ethnicities coming to Ghana succeed in business compared to other African Americans. And in the debate, we spoke about living below your means, right? And there's one lady on the panel who said she's not willing to. She has a standards, right, that she want to maintain, and so she's not willing to go and live in maybe a far place. You won't be in the city, the heart of the city, and guess what? It's expensive, right? You end up spending a lot of your money, right? Your budget's paying rent and whatnot. And what I realized is there's another Ghanaian on the panel that he was willing to live far away, somewhere in the bush, somewhere, be chased by snakes or whatnot, just so he have enough money to play, enough money to invest with. You know what I'm saying? Not give. You're not working for anybody. And not only that, Chinese go about 2-3 hours, 8 hours far away from Accra, the main city, buying acres of land, right? Working on them and holding it for the next generation. So what would happen is the next 5 to 10 years, there's asset that has been gathered by the other ethnicities. And most Americans who spend 60% of their budget living in the city because of comfort or standard wise, you can't compete with these people because they sacrificed to go into the trenches where the snakes is anaconda, they are bulldozer their way through. They are starting a whole civilization. They are sacrificing themselves. Most of our people are not willing to do that. And I find that very interesting. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. So this is my thought, and I know how South I live here, so I always feel, and there's a lot of South Africans that feel the exact same way. And I can't call them all out by name, but they, I talk to a lot of people. How much better we could be, or what we could do, or you choose whatever.
Yeah.
If South Africans and Americans, African Americans, actually started coming together and working towards a greater good. Even and to include Ghana or any other African nation. What if the Africans and the African Americans started working together? What do you think?
I think it would give us a better chance to compete because we are losing in our own home. I mean, if anybody is into football, usually when you are playing in your own home, you have higher chances of winning.
Yeah.
But we are losing in our own home. What do I mean by that? In Ghana, you have several convenience shops, right? Small pocket of convenience shops where we are not necessarily together. Everybody is like in their own pocket doing their own thing. Right. And then you see the Chinese having the huge supermarket, right? What is the advantage? What advantage do they have? They have high, cash liquidity to spare. Now, because of currency conversion, someone living in the US have more high purchasing power than the local would. Right. So you come into the local community, seeing that this local, folks are a small pocket of, doing their own business. What you can do is bring in equity or even find investors among yourself. See that there's a Chinese, supermarket, which is a competition to this local small convenience shop, which they're going to lose. You bring in the cash, you create something similar, right? Where you're merging all this local, supermarket or convenience shops together, and then investing in trying to raise it up the scale, right? Just like the Chinese have done. Franchise it if you want, get more investors to invest into it. Then we stand a better chance to compete, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they're doing that. They're not bringing their money here. They're spending their money elsewhere. I think that if they did, these are an example. There's some of the things that we can be able to do to be able to compete. Because in Ghana, the Lebanese is winning when it comes to restaurant businesses. Really? Yes, they're kicking our ass.
Okay.
Indians, Chinese, right? Ghanaians are on the bottom. It shouldn't happen. I feel like our brothers coming and really supporting us financially and pushing us, we can be able to compete or even do better and thrive against all these other foreign investors and who don't look like us and whatnot. That would do a lot of good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think from our perspective, South Africa is looking at the tourism aspect to be able to expose South Africa, not just the parks and and all these different things, but when you bring people in and they, like, for example, you just got here, this is your first time in South Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you saw Cape Town.
Yeah.
So guys, he saw Cape Town. He think Cape Town is
the
greatest thing in the world, but he just got to Johannesburg. So he's going to see.
I need time.
Yeah, he needs time, but while you are here, you're going to be able to gather things. Like, you're going to see different industries. You're going to see different stuff. For example, we talked about here we got Ferraris and spades, and then you said in Ghana
we don't have any showroom, right? And I have friends who own Ferraris. So the question I'm asking myself, when it breaks down, where are you taking it? Are you going to fly it out of Ghana? How much is that going to cost you?
Yeah.
We don't have the infrastructure. Here in Cape Town, South Africa, I've seen at least 2 Ferrari showrooms so far.
Yeah. Wait till you ride around.
I need time, guys. And no, look, Ghana is losing on that front. Infrastructure-wise, we are way behind. But South Africa got it. It's really beautiful out here. I see nice cars all the time. Living in Cape Town, I lived there for 10 days before coming here. I mean, I stayed. I didn't live there. And it's nice. I've seen people driving around Porsche. They should make you the brand ambassador for Porsche.
We're going to get to that.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, that the more of the Americans, the Black Americans that visit Ghana, that visits the other African nations, to include South Africa, I think it's going to change our mentality, because we all come from the largest and the biggest economy in the world currently. It's debatable at this point. And we have access to U.S. banks. We got access to a whole bunch of stuff, to include your education, to include, and a lot of us are already plugged into these things.
I wanted to say one thing. So I went to Zanzibar.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
See through water and everything.
Yeah.
And I was, I got an opportunity to, speak with an African American, Max Maxwell, who is into real estate. He's been in real estate for, I think, over a decade. And we spoke about me trying to convince other African Americans to come bring their money here, right? And he was like, don't exhaust yourself, trying to convince people. Because we have people in the comment section saying, I don't want to bring my American dollar here. And I'm like, I don't know if you saying that you think, trust me, you are doing yourself a disjustice by you even saying that. Why? Because everybody else is coming here.
Everybody else
is coming here.
The world.
And this is the cheapest Africa would ever be.
Yeah.
Unless there's some war or something crazy, but this is the cheapest it would ever be, and everybody is coming in when it's cheap. buying up all the lands, right? And so you're waiting till it's really hot, right? And guess what? You'll be late to the party.
Yeah.
So being quick to say, I don't want to bring my US dollars here. I'm like, have you even been here? Have you lived here?
Yeah.
Have you heard other business folks making money?
But they say, I did my research.
What research on YouTube?
Yeah.
You can read it. You can't really understand Africa, right, from a YouTube video. You have to be here on the ground and live it yourself. True.
I agree.
Yeah.
I fully agree.
Yeah.
You know, I tell people all the time in our videos, we do our videos just so you can come on tour. And then when they come on tour, some people have high expectations, some people have low expectations. Some people don't even want to be here, but they almost got forced because of the person with a high expectation. And they get here and they lose it. They're literally at the airport crying. And I'm like, they're like, oh, it's been sad. And then they leave, and then they're texting us every week or so. So what's going on over there?
They're curious now.
Yeah, now they're curiosity. So, but it's very interesting that we have these viewpoints, and a lot of it is because we have the interaction and we got the experience.
Yeah. Traveling opens your mind and your eyes to a different level. It's almost like education.
Yeah.
I think the more you travel, it just opens your mind. That's what did to me, right?
Yeah.
I've been to several other countries, and when I go back home and I compare myself to some people I grew up with, I'm way better in so many different ways mentally. And I think what experience interviewing African Americans, what I would tell to them is start with traveling. Just be on an adventure.
Yeah.
Because you learn so much that would defy what you've been taught, right? And what you've been watching on YouTube and even on CNN and BBC.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many opportunities. Max Maxwell, again, in the interview, he's like, he was well off living in America on a ranch and everything, but was able to sell out 45 units of property in 45 days.
Yeah.
Profit of about $3 million.
Yeah.
Right? Total revenue of $10 million. These are some things and some stories you bump into whilst you are on your adventure exploring Africa and looking out for opportunities.
Yeah.
Right? There are so many people who didn't make it on a YouTube video and tell their story, but they are in here, they are on the ground.
Yeah. Doing
Probably they don't even have a passport, but they have successful business owners here. And the only way you can get to see them or meet them is when you are here and then exploring.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell most people to do. And look at it as doing your PhD or you're in the university, and that's your practicals.
Yeah.
You learn so much that you'll be surprised.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let me let y'all go. I know y'all guys are like, wow, I learned a whole lot. Of course, you can like and subscribe to our channel, and then of course you can go to Webnation. You can go ahead and like and subscribe over there. And we're doing big things over here in South Africa, in Johannesburg. See you guys.
All right.
Hey everybody, this is Mark Blanton, and this is
Dr. Latasha Blanton from the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism.
And we have amazing packages to Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Durban. So we would like to see you guys here. All you have to do is just go to our website, therealsouthafrica.com, and we'll make sure that your trip here is amazing.
See you here in sunny South Africa.
to The Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. We are a travel company based in Johannesburg. However, we can get you to Durban because look at what you're looking at. Isn't that amazing? Can't you imagine yourself just hanging out here for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days? I'm trying to tell you, you're probably not going to want to leave like a lot of our guests from the past. However, all you have to do to come here is reach out to our website, therealsouthafrica.com, and you can come and enjoy and see what South Africa is really about. There's so much here, so much to do between the beaches, between the culture, between the food and everything else. And of course, the people here in South Africa, in this place called Durban. We will see you here in sunny South Africa.
For spending time with us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on all things The Real South Africa. Thanks again.